It's about 6 years since I saw the first electric Volvo machines at Balmer in 2019. Haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure that's about the same time that I saw the first JCB electric machines. As someone that spent 3 decades or more writing about diesel-fueled equipment, these electric machines were a revelation. In an instant, it was as if the industry had taken a giant leap forward. The future had arrived, and it came with batteries. And yet, the response from end users, operators, and equipment rental companies was rather more muted. In fact, with the ink barely dry on my article proclaiming the dawning of the electric age of construction, the dissenters had made their presence felt. How long can you work on a single charge, they asked. How long does it take to top up the battery? What will we do with the batteries once they're past their sell-by date, they wanted to know. And then there were the gripes that have become more familiar and more forceful since. They're not zero emission if you have to use fossil fuels to charge them, and demolition construction sites are not going to have 2-hour lunch breaks while they wait for a machine to charge. In short, a large section of the industry, many of whom had never actually seen an electric machine in the flesh at that point, dismissed them out of hand. And this is far from unique. For more than a decade, we in the UK watched from the sidelines while those clever Swedes embraced quick couplers and tilt rotators. Even when we finally woke up and recognised the efficiency benefits to be had, there were still those that claimed you weren't a proper operator if you needed a tilt rotator. Yes, because nothing screams great operator louder than doing things the hard way when there's a smarter alternative to be had. GPS and other driver aids are also dismissed as unnecessary or, weirdly, as questioning an operator's masculinity. In fact, virtually every significant industry step forward runs up against an obstacle or an objection. It's at this point that I generally trot out some tired old cliche about the rental companies being responsible for more than 80% of all UK equipment sales. That bit's true. But does it explain our resistance to change? Yeah. Equipment rental companies, or plant hirers as we used to call them, are seriously good at making money. They figured out logistics and transport. They figured out billing and ordering. But there's one thing that plant hire companies can't do, that they've never done. Create a demand where there isn't one. If enough people expressed a desire for electric excavators, plant hirers up and down the land would be ordering them by the truckload. If we fully embraced the Nordic way, where no machine was allowed on site without a tilt rotator, trust me, UK plant hirers would be drowning in them within a week. If GPS became the gadget du jour overnight, Elon Musk would need to get some more satellites in place. But that's not the case. Equipment manufacturers have invested thousands of man-hours and millions of pounds, dollars, and yen to make equipment safer, cleaner, and more productive. And large parts of the industry have just shrugged their collective shoulders. Now, if you're one of those that is resistant to change, you might argue that manufacturers have just got too far ahead of the curve, that they've pushed the envelope a little bit too far. However, the pioneering work that's been done in the field of electric equipment, for example, was not of their choosing. Having already worked to meet ever more stringent restrictions on diesel engine emissions, a switch to electric was both obvious and inevitable. Customers are clamouring for machines that are more productive and yet consume less fuel. The manufacturers met that demand only to have some parts of the industry then dismiss their solutions as newfangled. By every conceivable measure and metric, equipment manufacturers are, to varying degrees, swimming with the tide. It's the owners and the operators of the equipment that seem intent on swimming against it. In fact, even though hydrogen-fueled machines are currently little more than a vision for the future, there are probably some in the industry that are already preparing their objections. We don't want a repeat of the Hindenburg on one of our sites. When all is said and done, I stand by my belief that the industry is ripe for disruption. But maybe it's not the manufacturers that need disrupting. Maybe it's us.